With spring weather pretty much among us, I know over here it's in the high 50s, low 60s all week long. Beautiful, mild springtime weather. So I figured now was a great time to bring you the 10 designer fragrances that I'll be reaching for the most this spring. Stay tuned. First is an oldie but a goodie, one that I've kind of been itching for spring to roll around because I feel like this is just geared for it. One of the best soapy fragrances ever made. It's from Prada, Prada Amber Pour Homme. Soapy, 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 clean, fresh, a little resinous from the myrrh that's in here, but beautiful. Easy to wear, clean, strong enough, yet not overbearing. It's just a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. I know some may want to gear towards the intense version and it wears a little bit heavier. It's got a little bit more density, but I feel like for an uplifting spring weather type of day where it's nice, bright and sunny, it's mild, it's not hot, but it's not cold either. It's nice. It's in that nice sweet spot in the high 50s all the way to high 60s. It's just beautiful, perfect springtime weather. Something light, airy, and clean like this just does the trick on a beautiful spring day. And that's why I wanted to start the video with this one, because I do plan on reaching for this one quite a bit this year. And that's Prada Amber Pour Homme, the soapy classic. One that's actually pretty new to the collection, and I'm glad I didn't buy the Eau de Toilette and I waited and bought the EDP, because I just like the addition of the ambroxan and the way it comes off with the woody notes and makes kind of an amber wood smell. Of course, I'm talking about Versace Argos Eau de Parfum. I just dig it. I like it a little bit more than the Eau de Toilette. I've smelled the Eau de Toilette many, many, many times over the years and contemplated buying it many, many times over the years. And I have a lot of fragrances that smell like Argos, and I just waited and waited and waited. And, this one came out and I was like, you know what? That might be the one for me. I'm going to eventually need to try that. And I ended up blind buying a tester from fragrancebuy.ca, and I'm glad I did. It's got a little bit more richness than the EDT, but overall it's pretty much the same fragrance. It has the right amount of performance for me. And like I said, that added ambroxan, I'm not saying that there wasn't some trace ambroxan in the original, but it's pretty prominent in this one, and it kind of gives it a little bit more oomph to it. Really good for those days when you want to be pronounced and really make a statement and really grab somebody. Versace Argos EDP is definitely going to be able to do that for me this spring. Now then, late fall and winter, it's all about the intense flanker for me. But when the spring rolls around and then early fall as well, I really like to pull out Prada L'Homme, the original. This is my favorite in the line, even though I do love the intense, and I love L'Eau, which is my favorite for summer. You will see that one featured this summer because that's when I like to wear it. And some will say this is geared for the summer. I get that, but I don't know if it's just the bottle and the batch that I have. I don't know if it's the way it reacts with my skin, but this stuff's actually very powerful off my skin. I get every bit of 8 hours easily, and it projects surprisingly heavy. The first 2 hours are, beyond arm's length. You can smell me real easy when I have this one on. This is one of my happy fragrances, like I like to call it. When I have this one on, you can't get the smile off my face. I just love the way it smells. It puts me in a great mood. And I'm kind of glad that spring's rolling around. Don't get me wrong, I love the cold weather. I love hoodie weather. It's my favorite time of year. But spring makes me want to pull this one out. And like I said, it's one of my happy fragrances. I love wearing this. I love the way it smells. So I've been itching to pull this one out. And with spring right here around the corner, I will be using Prada L'Homme. Another one that I put away for the winter and I pull back out in the spring. And, I'm bad about this one getting lost in the collection because I have so many, but I really, really, really do love the way that Armani Code Colonia smells. Underrated. This one's a tester bottle, as you can see by the notes on the back. And this is another one that I actually get great performance on. It projects pretty well, similar to how Prada L'Homme does on my skin. And it's every bit of an 8-hour fragrance. It's just a super fresh version of Armani Code. It's the blue fragrance version, essentially. And I love my blue fragrances, which surprisingly, this list isn't littered with blue fragrances. This and Versace Argos is pretty much, well, one other. But you guys know that have been following me for a while. I love my blue fragrances, don't get me wrong. And this one is just so fresh, yet it has enough sweetness from the tonka bean, because essentially the Armani Code line is tonka bean based fragrances. So it does have a powdery nature to it. It does have that Code signature in here, but it's got quite a bit of freshness. It's not overbearing, and the little bit of orange that's in there hangs out for quite a while. And it's just a delight. Great for a summer evening as well, but really built for the spring in my opinion, because it's strong, but not too strong, but strong enough to where I don't think you want to wear it on a 100-degree day full of humidity. But in a milder spring day, Armani Code Colonia was built for that. This is the newest release in the Boss Bottled line, and I feel like it is built for the spring. This just screams springtime to me. It's Boss Bottled Eau de Parfum, the newest release. It's very sage heavy in the opening. It's going to give you a similarity to the Versace Argos style, to a lot of bubblegummy type of fragrances. It does give me that in the opening. And I do get a little bit of the apple, and I think mixing with that cardamom is what gives me so much of that bubblegum type of scent. But if you give it a little bit of time, let it settle in, really let that cardamom take over and that sage start to fade, you start to get more of the DNA of Boss Bottled, where that apple starts to shine more, the cardamom takes over as the spice instead of the cinnamon that's traditionally the spice in the Boss Bottled DNA. The olive wood comes in more and gives a slightly woody accord to go with that sweet spice, and that little bit of apple that does start to fade after a few hours does hang out for a while, surprisingly, doesn't fade quickly. And it's got some really good longevity. It's a 7 to 8 hour fragrance. It's not some beast mode performer, but it's a solid performer, and it's got that rich type of sillage that you would expect from Eau de Parfum, where it does linger in the air. It doesn't project really heavy and push real hard, but the trail you do have lingers in the air for a few seconds longer than the other Boss Bottle flankers, and it's just a beautiful scent. It really is. It's somewhere in between the Eau de Toilette and the intense Eau de Parfum, whereas it's got a little bit of a twist where it maintains some features and some elements of both and kind of does its own thing at the same time. Beautiful fragrance. I had to spend some time with it. I wasn't a fan on first spray, but after several wearings, really digging this one. One you should sample and try, and one I'm going to be reaching for quite a bit this spring. It's Boss Bottled Eau de Parfum. Now, I debated even featuring this in this video because it is a discontinued fragrance. It's not the easiest to get your hands on, but at the same time, I'm going to be reaching for it. This is my favorite time of year to reach for this one. I've been through 2 samples of it, and I have a 5-ounce bottle of Dior Homme. Oh, I got a big old bottle because I love this stuff, and you know, it's unfortunate that they discontinued it. I don't think it was the right thing to do, but I don't make the decisions over at Dior, you know. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance. I know a lot of people want to compare it to Prada L'Homme, and some of you may even be saying, but you have Prada L'Homme in this video. Why would you have that? They're not the same scent. They're the same vibe, but they're not the same scent. Just because they're fresher iris fragrances doesn't mean they smell the same. This one's got a bit more coriander and some more woody nature to it, versus Prada L'Homme having a more soapy aspect to the iris and a lot more peppery spice. I get a lot more spice in Prada L'Homme versus Dior Homme Eau. Dior Homme Eau I find to be a bit fresher and a bit woodier. It's just pleasant. It's light, it's airy, it's an easy wear. It can dress up very easy while still being a great t-shirt fragrance at the same time. Like I said, sad that they discontinued it. Decent performer, not a beast. 6 to 8 hours depending on your skin. I definitely spray my clothes with this one, so I do get closer to the 8-hour mark, 7 to 8 hours, which is plenty for me. Not a real heavy projector. Sillage is beautiful in this one though. Smells even better in the air than it does directly off of skin. And directly off of skin, it's not too shabby. It smells really good. So if you can find a bottle of this for a decent price, yeah, I say absolutely get your hands on it. Even if you can't test it. If you like iris, you're bound to like this fragrance. But definitely one I'll be reaching for this year in the spring pretty heavily is Dior Homme Eau. One of the more complimented fragrances in recent memory that I've gotten my hands on, that another one that I wasn't a huge fan of when I first sprayed it. I've always thought it smelled great, but it smells very similar to others in its own line, but there are some differences. The ginger really stands out in Polo Red Eau de Parfum. I like this one. The difference here is my wife loves this one. So naturally, when you buy as many fragrances as I do, you get your hands on as much as I do. When you come across one that the wife really enjoys, You got to keep it in the rotation. And here in the springtime, it's perfect for it. It has a citrus, a beautiful orange note in there. It has the ginger for some bright, fresh spice, a nice crisp aspect to it. And it's got a density with the oil concentration where it leaves a really nice trail. Obviously, that's why my wife loves this one. She loves the way it smells coming off of me. And it still performs decent without being overbearing, yet it's strong enough where I wouldn't advise this one in the summer. I would go more with the original or Red Rush or something that's a bit lighter. They're still fruity sweet, but they're lighter fragrances, whereas this has a density, more of a fall spring type of fragrance. I was wearing it a bit during the fall, and definitely time to pull it back out. I felt like it wasn't really my cup of tea for the winter. I like the darker, heavier fragrances in the winter, and now that we're moving into spring, you will see this in some more scent of the day posts because I do think this is great for the spring. Doesn't really get talked about anymore. Polo Red, EDP. Hazelnut and honey. You may know where I'm going when I say that. This is another one that's just a great fall and spring fragrance. I put it away for the winter, and I'll be pulling back out 1 Million Lucky for this spring. This is a beautiful, beautiful compliment getter. Almost a beast, really. 8 to 9 hour fragrance, even bordering in that 10-hour territory. Very, very long lasting on my skin, and puts out pretty well. It's not a room filler. Beyond arm's length in that first hour, then even arm's length for the second hour. It's pretty good projection. It's not overload, room filling stuff like I said, but a strong projector for sure with a very strong sillage. This is another one that the gourmand aspects of it give it that density that really lingers in the air when you walk by. So the trail in this one is gorgeous. Definitely a head turner. This is a strong head turner. This will get you some attention. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance. If I had to pick one in the line that'll garner the most attention, it's probably 1 Million Lucky, with Privé being my overall favorite for me personally, but there's no denying the effects of 1 Million Lucky. It smells fantastic, and like I said, it's a straight up head turner. When you want somebody to look your way because you smell great, I'm not saying it's gonna happen every time, but the likelihood goes up when you're wearing something like 1 Million Lucky, and I will definitely be pulling out this spring. In my opinion, one of the most underrated fragrances out there, and I feel like more people should give it a chance. It's essentially the Spicy Invictus. Spice Bomb Night Vision, the original Eau de Toilette. The EDP, yes, overall it's a better fragrance. I just wore this one last week, actually. I love the way it smells. I really do. I love this. I always have. From the first time it came out, I was one of the people that puts it in the love territory. I contributed to the mixed reviews because a lot of people said generic, boring, Invictus, bubblegummy, mass appeal. They didn't like that. They knocked it for that. I appreciate it for what it is. It's the blue fragrance of the Spice Bomb line is how you can look at it, even though it's green on the bottle. Cool looking bottle design. Fits the name, Night Vision. But it performs very well on my skin. Yes, it smells like an Invictus bubblegum opening, but it does transition once you get to that heart where it gets a bit spicier. That bubblegum aquatic nature starts to fade a bit more. And it's an 8 to 10 hour fragrance on my skin anyways. And it's very loud. First 3 hours are pretty solid projection. I'm not going to say overwhelming and strong, but solid. Arm's length type of stuff for a long time. Several hours. Very strong trail. Easy to smell me when I'm walking by with this one on. And I like the Eau de Parfum more for the colder weather. Not saying you can't pull that one off in the spring. You absolutely can. I just feel like it's such a beast that I want to keep that to pierce through the cold because I have the EDT and I love the EDT. So when it warms up a bit, I prefer to go with this. And this spring, you'll see me pulling this pen and spraying Night Vision EDT quite a bit. And last but not least, this is another one that I put away for the winter, and now it's time to pull it out. Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Man, this is just a good fragrance. It's so good. Lemon zest, sandalwood, cedar, Isoe Super. Most prominent notes to me. It's not an overwhelming fragrance. It's a clean, polished, refined, professional scent that can go well on a day when you even want to wear a sleeveless shirt. Because in the summer I like to wear tank tops and sleeveless shirts, and you can still pull this one off. Just as easy as the EDT or the EDP with that. But the difference here is this one dresses up quite a bit better, in my opinion, than the EDT or the EDP because it's so polished and refined. You don't lose the aspects of what Bleu de Chanel is while gaining some more warmer aspects to it. This is a much warmer fragrance, which really leans to that refined touch that I say this one has. It's the most expensive one in the line, don't get me wrong. It's hard to find Bleu de Chanel discounted. You're gonna pay a lot for this one, but in my opinion, it's definitely worth it. I bought this one from Sephora when I got it. I got lucky and found a 20% off code. This was quite a while back. I doubt that code still works anymore. I don't even remember it because it's a year and a half ago that I bought this, but great fragrance. Definitely the time of year that I'll be pulling out. Be looking for scent of the day post from Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Well guys, that's the 10 designer fragrances I'm going to be reaching for the most this spring. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all the feedback and I love hearing from you guys. With some fragrances that you put away for the cold, and it's time to pull those bottles back out and put them back in the rotation. This was the ones for me. Some I'm really eager to use. Some I haven't worn much, and some I haven't worn in a while that I'm really itching to spray. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of the fragrances mentioned in this video and you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.